has been revealed when we walk in your light. When we walk in it.
Hello, and welcome to The Torch. I'm Pat,
I'm Kevin.
and today we're going to talk about, is anyone listening?
Is anyone listening? I love it.
Well, let's find out. Because our guest today is Misty Winkler. Are you listening, Misty?
I hope so. I'm going to try.
Hi, Misty.
Listening, Misty.
Okay, that works.
She has a new name. To start with, I'd like to read a quote from our 46th Vice President of this nation, Dick Cheney. It is easy to take liberty for granted when you have never had liberty taken from you.
Very true.
So, tell me, Misty, do you think the silent majority is taking for granted their way of life and ignoring this true state of the nation, its economy, freedoms, their very lifestyle?
Yes, I think that over the last 4 years, a whole lot has changed. I think there's always going to be, people that don't speak out. But I think over the last 4 years, so many people have changed their stance on that and have woken up and see the need to speak out because of what's happening in our country today.
And the silent majority are a lot of those people that never really do speak out, and you don't even know where they stand on it.
Right.
And a lot of people are voicing their...
But to be honest, at one time, probably because we've been married for 21 years, and before him, I would have probably been considered silent majority as far as just because I was uneducated and I didn't know. But I think that through these times, these different things that have happened over the past 4 years, I feel like a lot of people have found their voice just because of things they've lived through and had to deal with, and realize, okay, this isn't just, laid back, easy going anymore. This stuff is, things are happening, things are getting serious, and eyes are being opened because things are being revealed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's true, I think, because I used to not speak out, and now look at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we can't get her to shut up. No, just kidding. No, I think it's great. And I think it's great, too, that there's people that, that for all ages and, very diverse, like people that are speaking out that probably have never spoken out before. So I think it's neat seeing the different people, because we need that. We need that. People need to hear the truth from everybody. Because there's I could speak out, but some people may not even, give me the time of day or listen to me, but they would to somebody else.
Yeah. Interesting.
They're listening to you now.
Yeah, I guess so. They have to right now if they're watching.
Turn you off.
I guess they could.
But, my parents lived during the Depression. At that point, they had 2 children, of which I wasn't. But they did. There was no money, or very little. But they still had to live. They still had to pay rent or whatever. And what I'm hearing now is a lot of the startup families, they're just starting out and they maybe have a kid or two. And they can't afford to buy a house at the price houses are now.
Yes.
And now they're fighting the grocery bill and the utility bill and everything else. And so my question is, are we slipping back into that type of style of the Depression era, struggling to make ends meet just to survive?
If things don't change and things don't change really quickly, I would imagine that from the prophetic end and from the just looking, common sense looking, if something doesn't change, I would imagine, we as a family, our grocery bill was like $125 a week. And that's with 3 of us, and it is over $200 a week now for almost the same stuff.
And that's still low. compared to what, it could be.
I
I mean,
know.
low because we budget,
And when we first started in this house, our utility bill, you do a budget and then you have an average range on the different bills. Our average range, the normal high of this house on electricity was about 250, 300 at the max. We are hovering in the 450 range right now. I just got the thing, if you keep on spending like you are at your bill, we're going to hit another almost $500 electricity bill here. And we're not doing anything different
Nothing
here.
different, yeah.
Matter of fact, we got a new roof with vents that have never been on this house before.
And I feel like we have bumped. We used to keep it so icy cold during the summer, and now I feel like we have bumped it way up. In the
During the
high
day and stuff,
70s.
yeah.
Yeah, and it still feels comfortable. But I'm surprised we're not seeing any.
No.
And also the other day, we were at the grocery store. We do curbside once a week. And they used to, and it was same budget then, and they used to come out with, or actually it was cheaper, come out with this big old cart full and load the trunk full, and now we're spending more, and they load the trunk, and I'm thinking, that can't be it. That's 5 bags. I mean, literally, you're getting nothing for your money,
So that's just like food
Yeah.
and electricity, and in our culture, our American way, people have electricity. So other than not having it on, of course, we're in excessive heat time, so the air is running a lot more. But we've never had vents on the top of our roof to vent some of the heat, and
Yeah.
this year we do.
We do, and nothing's
And it's
changed.
not. It's actually more expensive now than it was previously. It's like,
Yeah.
how does this work?
I don't know how younger families, that are just starting out, I don't know how they're doing it. I really don't, unless they're, having to move in with the parents, because it's just, and we just have one child,
How does somebody pay just rent when the house, like if we bought this house, we could not buy this house today
No.
and afford the mortgage on it if we bought today. And you probably, if you bought your house when your working years at what it's valued at now and have to
No.
write that check for a mortgage.
Yeah, I couldn't do it.
No.
Especially, you're paying your mortgage payments, you're paying your escrow payments, and it's all adding up to way more. And then you turn around, but you look at the ones who can't afford to buy a house at all because of the high price, but their rent
Yeah.
is some enormous amount of money.
$1,800 or $2,000.
Well, just for instance, on the Nextdoor app, you see a lot of people reaching out for help and handouts and stuff, and you have to obviously, be spirit-led in your giving and be able to weed through those. But people are saying on there that to rent, like even a 1-bedroom apartment, and I'm talking a 1-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, is like $1,700 or $1,800 a month. And, in any desired part of town. And even in Waco, or, it's just, people can't find places to live. And it's very sad. It's really sad.
Well, then you add to that the utilities. I'm seeing things, people are talking about $700 electric bills and
Yeah.
$300 water bills. Of course, they're probably watering their lawn,
Yeah.
which I'm not right now. So
But to answer your question, I think if something doesn't change in November,
and it's going to take time.
and it's going to take time, but I think if something doesn't change, I think we all better we better pray, because
It's like, there's only like your savings account. When you're starting to dip into savings just to pay normal necessities, it's like, how long is that going to last? Or floating things on the credit card.
yeah.
And, it's, the whole cash flow things where you actually don't have enough, but because of the way your paychecks come, you're able to keep
Yeah.
away from the zero or the negative. I should say the negative. It's like the land of plenty, the land of even, and the land of lack. It's like,
Yes.
But what we're happening, Miss Pat, and you probably this is man-made. This is not
Yes.
like
Yeah.
a hurricane that's hit
No.
the entire United
No.
States and stopped production. This is all man-made.
This is all man-made, and somebody has lost sight of the fact that this country was built on, number one, the Bible,
Yes.
and number two, the freedom of the people. And we, the people,
Mm-hmm.
are their employers.
And we, the people, didn't vote the people that are playing to be in the office. We didn't vote those people in.
Well,
We,
the
the
government doesn't the government have all the money?
Well, they spent it all helping.
Yeah, not anymore.
Well, I mean, I was being
No.
kind of facetious.
Now they spend it as they need it.
Well, I was going to say, I thought if you look at the actual government, any government entity, they actually are broke. They don't have any money.
No.
Where do they get their money from?
We, the people.
Or the press, the printing press?
The printing press, you know. And, you know, all right, here in Texas and several other states, we're border states. And those aren't just people from Mexico coming across that border anymore.
No, no.
They're coming from all over the world across the border with drugs and disease and
I saw a picture of a bunch of people coming across, and none of them looked like they were from Mexico.
you know, like they're calling them immigrants. Well, an immigrant is somebody who comes into this country legally and works very hard for a number of years to get to get through everything so that they
Legally.
become citizens legally.
Yes.
And
Yes.
illegals, well, that would typically, to me, be somebody from Mexico
Well,
I know.
who have come across the border.
why do we call them and their people? I understand it, but why do we call them illegals?
Because they've come across illegally.
But they're invaders.
Invaders. They're invading the country.
They're not just the people from Mexico coming across the border for a better life. These are people from who knows where coming in to do who knows what.
You said something. There was some reemergence of some of the older diseases that have been pretty well eradicated. Where are some of these new diseases coming from that we would not have normally had? It's in you know, the Central America, South America. There are some things down there, some parasites and different things that really we don't have a lot of dealings in. You did not have a lot of dealings in the United States because it was through the medical technology and stuff like that. But there's some that are over actually across in other countries that are not connected landmass wise to the United States. They've had to come over from like people across the oceans where the water barrier around the United States has kept a lot of that away. And it's like foreign stuff that's like, where did this come from? It's like because there's no vetting process, there's no way to flow the time. You know, you've got 100 people all with a certain parasite coming from another country and into a certain population, you're going to have problems.
Well, not only that, as far as diseases are concerned, you've got different types of pests in the form of bugs and animals and that sort of thing jumping on board a ship or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Just riding over like an invading species of something, yeah.
so you've got that we end up contending with. So where does it stop?
I'll cut this part right there and I'll edit this out. Bailey, hey, you gotta shut that door. We're picking up all that. Close the door quickly. Question until she does that. We'll splice this in.
It's okay. She doesn't know.
I know. blood type tests and checking to see if there's like hepatitis and some of those things.
Wait, legally or illegally?
No, legal, like a legal.
Oh, yeah.
Illegal,
You
yeah.
go through because you have to learn the Constitution, you have to learn our form of government, and you have to, like, that is just common sense.
I mean, that's the way it always was, but now anybody can come in and, like you said, nobody's being vetted or anything like that. So all this stuff is just
That's why-
accumulating and creating more problems.
And the already strapped financiers, which is the American people, who cannot hardly take care. It's like, how can we help anybody if our own family is not
Right.
even being taken care of? If everybody is broke because of bad policies, how are we going to take care? I mean, it's like America. We've heard this before for years. If you looked at the United States and what the Lord has done with this country in just the benevolence to other countries, I'm not talking about foreign aid, which is a scheme. That's all a scheme. That right there, that's just kickback money. I'm talking about ministries and churches, and we're talking about smuggling Bibles in our pre-conversation before we got on air. If you looked at all of the benevolence of the people, not the government, that has been sent over to other countries in the world, United States has outgiven every other nation. The people of our country has shared and given more to everybody in the world than all the other countries combined. But if there's nothing left, if we can't, it's like these policies and stuff are creating a big problem with how are some of these other countries who depend upon the generosity of the Americans, what's going to happen? It's like a domino effect in this. And I'll say this real quick because we're talking about, why are we so involved in politics as a church and as a ministry? Because politics is about policies. Policies are about people, and God cares for people. So these bad policies are affecting the people. And it's not just Americans now. It's like we're not able to be as generous because we're just not available.
We don't have the money ourselves.
So I have a question. Is it
Yeah.
okay if I ask a question?
Yeah, as long as we know the answer.
So, okay, I have been saying, it's not even political anymore. It's basically good versus evil. And I saw something that there was a pastor, and I don't remember where it was or who it was, and he had basically indicated he was tired of hearing people say that about this is being good versus evil. But isn't that ultimately what we're dealing with?
Yeah.
And, again, it's not, we love the people. Like, we don't want to see even, the people that have these wrong ideas and stuff. Either they're completely, if you can't see what we can see, either you're completely blinded or you don't want to see it. And again, it goes back to you love the sinner, you hate the sin. We don't want to see the people that are going through all this. We don't want to see them, hurt or anything like that. Just like, kind of like, and I'm taking a little rabbit trail here, bear with me. When the whole incident happened just recently with